So, yes, I was working for the Office of ASEAN Affairs, and how do I explain it? The build of ASEAN is there's the economic, so that's why
Mhm.
we always communicate with DTI.
Okay,
There's the social cultural, which is why we always communicate with DSWD.
that's
And
interesting.
then, yes, and then there's the summitries and coordination, which is DFA, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Summits, the
So those
conference.
are the three, yes, for all countries, for all ASEAN countries, those are the three main agencies or ministries.
Oh,
Um, the Foreign Ministry, the Trade and Industry, and the social welfare,
like
social welfare and development. So whatever their counterparts is in
okay.
ASEAN countries. So it's always those three.
So you've worked with ASEAN. Oh, how do you? Ano, I
ASEAN.
can't.
It's
I'm
okay.
trying
Go
to.
ahead.
You work with
Just say
ASEAN.
whatever it rolls out your
With
tongue.
Yeah, you work with ASEAN representatives as well, so across the, the region, diba?
Yes. So, yes, I've had the opportunity to work with our counterparts naman also in the other ASEAN countries,
Mm-hmm.
which, yun. So I think that that's an experience that, you learn from. So at first, parang I was thinking, wow, how am I supposed to talk to these people, But good thing, my background in having international classmates, it helped.
Yeah, exactly.
Hindi,
And,
'di ba? Like I'm not shy anymore to talk to someone who's not Filipino,
yeah,
you know.
diplomat.
And it's also nice because diplomatic, as you said, like everyone's like diplomatic, and that's where I come in with there are different types of diplomats talaga that you will encounter that you talk to. Like I've talked to diplomats who are masungit, you know. I've talked to diplomats who are super friendly and charming na parang, parang you're mag-amiga kayo like
Yeah,
that. So they're really different kinds. And there's no like one structure of how to be a diplomat. That's
so
what I
so it's
learned.
okay that you don't have this personable, sociable personality. You don't have to really change yourself to be, if you want to pursue diplomacy or a diplomatic track, at least. It's just a useful thing is learning how to communicate yourself and to
Yeah,
um, that siguro that common agenda that you all have in that meeting, in that conference, or in that activity. Yeah.
exactly. But it is
Mhm.
important to remember that your reputation will stick with the people around you.
Okay. Okay.
So let's say na on the negotiating table. This happens a lot of I'm not gonna like name countries
Yeah.
or people,
It's okay.
but
There.
let's say ASEAN countries there. So you're limited to 10. Guess na lang who. So
Philippines.
in the ASEAN countries, there are some countries or there are some ambassadors who are known to be, you know, strict or known
Mhm.
na parang pag sinabi niya, that's the last word and he's really not gonna budge. So people have reputations already. It's so important na you have a good rapport with the people. Kasi if you're known to be masungit, wala na, no one's gonna wanna talk to you, no one's gonna wanna negotiate with you anymore. Kasi they'll know na this person, he's not gonna budge.
Okay.
It, hindi siya, how do I say it in English? It's like, hindi siya makatao, like he's not friendly, he's not
Person.
personable.
Person. Yeah. Person.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's very important your character.
Mhm.
You can be masungit if you want. You can still be a diplomat. It still works, but
Yeah.
no one's gonna like you. No one's
It's
gonna
much
want to
more easier
negotiate.
siguro to be nice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Then
And you get what you want when you're nice.
and you get what you want when you're nice now. From your experience in the negotiation table, but we had that negotiation class under, what was it, Dean
Dean Tony
Dean
Lavinia.
Lavinia, it's the
Yes,
dean of the School of Government. Um, it's always interest based in negotiation. Everybody
of course. You have to put in what will benefit your country.
yeah. At the same time, be diplomatic. That's so hard.
Exactly. So you have to pretend that it's gonna benefit everyone when really it's for your own good. Ganon.
Yeah. To sum up diplomacy, siguro, di ba? It's like all those, um, you can be so charming, but at the end of the day, it's just to push for that agenda um
Yeah.
in the table.
But
So
see, that's
yeah. Sige.
sorry. No, I was just
Sige.
gonna say that's something na we learned in school, both in undergrad and grad school, that really was used, in my work.
Okay. Okay. So that's the thing
Negotiation.
that you should really,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
it
really
was
useful.
used.
Not
Mm-mm.
really just realism, liberalism, and
I
constructivism.
mean, yeah, if I'm being honest, yung
Yeah.
mga theories, they're good to know,
Yeah.
but from my experience, it's really the more practical things that you're gonna use, like negotiations, like beyond the classroom, dealing with people from a
Yeah.
different country or even from a different province as you. Syempre, that's a different mindset kaagad. You know, when you develop these um capabilities, I guess, that's really what helps
Hmm.
when you graduate and wherever you go. If you go further studies, if you work, talagang those are the things that I realized are most important.
Okay. So more or less like something beyond the classroom din talaga siya na trait is yung it's part of our course kasi diplomacy and negotiation. So I think that really helps. But
Yes.
if you want to pursue the track that we are on, me and Carla are similar, sa government. For the listeners, it's important to hone your skills in school, so in terms of negotiation and diplomacy,
People
kasi
skills.
people skills. I really need to hone that talaga.
No,
Um,
but look, you were able to hone it, 'di ba?
yeah,
Especially when you studied in Sydney.
yeah. Um, I find that beer or drinking really helps loosen me up, and also coffee um makes me more sociable, and Coke. That's why I drink Coke. I actually drink Coke. Yung students ko, they're concerned sa akin kasi my class is
You drink
7 a.m.
Coke. You're
7
drinking Coke at 7 a.m., Ike?
after I eat my breakfast or during my breakfast, I drink Coke.
What
Not even
kind
water, just this
what
one.
kind of what do you call this? Uh what's the word?
It's not the
Example are you setting to your students that you're drinking Coke at 7 in the morning?
along with coffee. So like I really need that caffeine kick kasi sa work ko din, it's like it starts with 5 a.m. in the morning preparing I know
Crazy.
teachers cram, diba? So like we
That's
cram our
crazy.
PowerPoints and our reading. So like, oh, I have
I
to I have to finish this page 5 a.m. and then go to school around 7 and start the class around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Then I drink my Coke and while lecturing. So like, oh, see, sir, he's not gonna survive until 30
gonna
if he
die.
keeps
He's gonna die early.
trying. Then after 3 hours of class and talking and standing up, I ride a jeep or someone fetches me. I go to the city council building, and I work
Mm,
10 a.m. to like siguro until 8 p.m. at night kasi
Wow.
negotiations and dealings, they go way beyond the 5 o'clock
I don't know
uh,
how you do it. Oh, that's true. Yung
day.
negotiations, it's crazy. Sometimes, ako, they let me go since I'm just an assistant. I'm not an officer. I don't need to be there. But
Mm.
negotiations sometimes until midnight.
Yeah.
Until midnight. And if it still doesn't end midnight, until the next day, they go back and they still negotiate. That's crazy.
Yeah, and on top of that, you have to maintain your, your charm and your personable. So
Unless
it's
you're
really,
those countries.
yeah. Unless you're those. So it's really a job, basically, to sum things up. It's still at the end of the day, a job that you have to really, you know, work, legit
Right,
work,
of
apply
course.
your skills and whatnot. And outside, conferences and negotiations, what else do you deal with the other agencies and any
Yes.
other tasks that you did to DFA, ASEAN?
Well, the biggest task that I had the responsibility of coming up with is this workshop. So I headed this thing. It was called the East Asia Summit
Mm.
workshop. Yeah,
Mm.
workshop on marine cooperation. So the East
Oh,
Asia, I know. So the East Asia Summit, it's the ASEAN countries, so the 10 ASEAN countries plus 8 countries. So this is like 18 countries all in all. And I set up a workshop for that invited representatives from all of these 18 countries, both speakers and audience, to talk about marine cooperation in their country. So a lot of them, they talked about fisheries, they talked about the laws
mm.
concerning, but not, it's not like the South China Sea,
Oh, really?
nothing, not controversial. We were very diplomatic about it. It was just about the catches, like the fisheries, that
Yeah,
the different
yeah.
fishes that you catch in parts of the world, and
The
how that,
pelagic, whatever thing.
yes, and like how like let's say in the Philippines,
Mm.
this is how we catch our fish. In Vietnam, this is how we catch our fish.
Really?
And
That's so
then yes, and then like they talked about, different strategies, and then the laws about exporting fish, importing fish. It's funny, it was all about fishes, but at the same time it made me realize na, you know even if it's just all about fishes, it
Mhm.
still has to do talaga with international relations.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
these fishes, they cross
The
they
borders,
cross borders.
boundaries, the maritime boundaries. They don't
Diba?
care if it's your EEZ or their
It's
EEZ.
funny when you think about it na you never see fishes, diba?
Yeah, but
Right?
they're a resource kasi like people, it's food supply at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly. But
you have
isn't
to.
that very interesting na parang they never teach that to us in school na
They taught
literally
that
fish.
sa ano,
Oh, for
sa
you.
masters. Like
Ah, okay.
that's why I want to push this subject sa international studies or sa international relations na course sa Ateneo Davao. Is like I want to
Mm,
teach the law of the sea for like a full time course kasi the
right.
Philippines, an archipelago,
It's
the
very
law of
important.
like go beyond UNCLOS, go beyond the law of the sea
Mm-mm.
convention. There are a lot of things that you should know,
Fishes.
the fish, international maritime law, like what happened.
Yeah.
Kasi ang daming, ang daming seaman sa Philippines din.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. That's actually one topic in the workshop about the seafarers.
yeah, the
Yeah.
seafarers.
Mhm.
Even the cruise ship, mostly Filipino crew, man yan siya. And then it's like, for me, like, I argued that, like, we need to talk about this. Our Filipino students need to learn these things outside. Like, it was humanitarian law, international humanitarian law, so the laws of war.
Right.
Or, like, for me, it's much more important to talk about the law of the sea. Because,
For us, for
for
our
us,
country.
we're not like really engaged with conflict. Of course, it's important to talk about those kinds of things, but yeah, the thing that we didn't really took note of when we were studying sa college was the law of the
The
sea.
seas. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And it took fishes for me to realize na parang, oh
Is
no,
it
like you
is it
see
fishes or fish? Oh, my plural ba na? Yeah, that's
fisheries, the
fisheries. Yeah,
fisheries. Yeah.
I would call it that.
But yun. So yeah, I
That's
made a
18
whole
countries.
about
18
fish.
countries in a workshop.
Mhm.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It was, and it was not easy to put
18
together.
18
A-
VVIPs. So like, diba, I think the last time we've met was you booked flights, even um
Exactly.
the tumbler for the event, and
Exactly.
the
I
hotel
had to
bookings.
the hotel, the flights, the
Mm-hmm.
giveaways, tapos syempre they're VIP, so kailangan sunduin sila in the
Uh,
airport. You can't lose them. If you lose a VIP, patay na. Which I
wala ka namang
lost a
experience.
VIP.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
Buti
Okay.
na lang, he was Filipino. And it was his fault. Tumakas siya.
Okay. Yeah, Filipinos.
He's a Filipino based in Jakarta,
Mm-hmm.
in the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
Okay,
So we
yeah,
took him here, right?
yeah.
And we were supposed to take him back to the airport. Yun pala, he made his own plans.
Detour
Na
siya.
after the workshop, he just disappeared.
Yeah, family siguro or what, di ba?
Exactly.
That's the
But
human
anyway, I wasn't too scared because he was Filipino, so I trusted that he knew his way.
this was different from the summit the last time I saw you sa Instagram. Then
Yeah,
did a summit with PRRT. How was that?
yeah.
What was that about?
So I had experience then with the ASEAN Summit. So
Okay.
for I guess your students should know
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this, right? The
they
ASEAN.
will their international organizations class. I think they have.
Okay, good. So right, I had experience in the ASEAN Summit, and I don't know. I hope that they teach this to your students now, because for us, they didn't teach this to us, but before the ASEAN Summit proper, before that week, mga siguro a week or two before that, are so many preparatory
Okay.
meetings where the
Preparatory.
real where the real things happen.
Okay.
Kumbaga, during the preparatory meetings, that's where the negotiations happen.
Okay.
That's where countries agree to what statement, like the chairmanship statement, will come out. They agree to the wording. They agree to all of that. This is all before the ASEAN Summit week.
Okay.
During the ASEAN Summit week, it's mostly na lang parang
Pleasantries and
face. Yeah, it's like
ceremonies.
face service lang. Like the heads of delegations, the heads of the government, so
Mm-hmm.
presidents, prime ministers, sultan, they
Mm-hmm.
just show up, and they just read what happened during those 2 weeks.
Okay. So like parang press release style na.
Parang ganun na lang. Parang you don't really negotiate anymore. During the ASEAN Summit, wala na. Your leaders, they just make their speech,
Mhm.
and these speeches are all based on the real work that was done prior to ASEAN Summit Week.
By the other departments of the government as well, I think, and their counterpart.
Yes, exactly.
So
So
in
again,
DDTI and
exactly. So yon. The real work is done, with the diplomats and the presidents, prime ministers. They're really just, kumbaga, they're there to deliver the
mhm.
statements, but the real work is before that, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Even the bookings in the hotels and ano, diba?
Well, it was easy for us now because it was all virtual.
Virtual is the first ever, and I think
Yes.
it will probably be like this forever for a long
Um,
time.
no, but I heard some chismes.
Mhm.
For the next ASEAN Summit, which is Brunei is the one hosting it, I
Mhm.
think it might be virtual, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if pwede na by
Much
then.
more
By
convenient for the representatives, but not for the staff. Of course, it's gonna be medyo
It's
hassle.
hard.
Um,
Well,
sort of.
it's hassle because our internet connection is really bad, even in Malacanang.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the hassle part. But yeah.
Tapos yung when you were there, it was during a typhoon pa naman, di ba?
Yes, rain or shine, floods,
Yeah, bahal.
signal or no signal, bahala na, you have to get there.
And I was like, Carla should not check her phone because the hashtags in Twitter are really roasting the event. Even
I know, I know. I was very torn because I understand na parang, as the president, you should be local. Local ka eh. You should be where, your people are. But
yeah,
at the same time, you're also the face of the country.
Yeah,
So you
international.
also exactly. So you can't also be absent. Imagine how will that look? Now in the 10 countries, biglang, oops, no Philippines.
And we were the host, diba?
No, Vietnam was the
Okay,
host.
Vietnam was the host. Okay.
But it still won't look nice, and that's also for our benefit din naman. Imagine if the Philippines isn't there, who's gonna push for
Yeah,
our
exactly. Diba?
our interests,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
which not everybody will understand. So I was torn. Like I understand, syempre, the sentiments of the Filipino people, but at the same time, I wish people would also understand na wala, he's the face of the country and the country needs to be represented. So, you know.
Very, very Athenian answer for you, no? Dodging laser beams of
But
politics.
it's true. It's
Yeah,
just the truth.
yeah. And then that was Typhoon Ulysses. So, what was that?
Ulysses, yeah.
Ulysses, yeah. Medyo malakas talaga, and you were stuck at the
Over
convention.
here, oh,
And the president just went in, tapos after
in
he
and out.
voted in and out. That's really much more,
But
more or less.
for the likes of us assistants, wala,
So
talagang you have to, yeah,
even a
we
month
just have
long,
to. Oh
yeah,
yes,
full.
the preparations, the reports prior, the briefing papers prior, my goodness.
That's what I've
Oh,
tried to do sa local government though, like international relations style na yung briefing, the presidential daily brief of the US. I was schooled in that sa postgrad kasi, and then it's like it's nice if we do this to everybody. Na even the
no.
mayors, the vice mayors, the councilors, they should be updated sa city. Like this
Yeah,
this very efficient way. But it's medyo hassle and only stressful sa staff to really.
it is. But see, I guess that's one real world use of the papers that we wrote in college.
At least
Parang
yeah.
nahasa ako. I got used to writing fast and,
Yeah,
thinking fast na
yeah,
parang,
that's another thing,
you
diba? You have
know,
to really write so fast, and then people would read the reading your on live TV, or on on
exactly.
a
So you
meeting.
can't you
Mali
can't
mali.
be fake news or else patay
Yeah,
ka talaga.
be careful with that. Um,
Exactly.
outside, but what? Sige, I think personal question then, if
Go
you
ahead.
want to cut this out. So,
Sure.
why did you decide to resign ba or not renew sa
Not
DFA?
renew. Not renew the contract. Yeah. Well, um, I guess this is like our diversion na to what I'm learning now as like a 20 something year old
Yeah, yeah.
because yeah, truly because I feel like I've always had a plan. Okay. I've always had a plan from when I was young. This is how
Mm.
I got into IR for in the first place. When I was young, I when I was 8 years old, I took a what do you call this? I took a like tour. I took a tour of the United Nations headquarters. I was
How old were you?
8 years
Eight.
old. Yes. Tapos ako,
Yeah.
syempre bata. I was just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
this is so
Even now,
cool.
I mean, if you're not 8 years old, so you can just
Diba?
imagine eight. So.
So
Okay.
I was 8. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I made it, like, I promised myself, I was like, one day I'm going to work here
Mhm.
in the UN. Tapos, yun, it just so happened that growing up, I was also very good at social studies, history, mga ganyan. Like, I was always interested in it. So I pursued it.
Mm.
I pursued it until college.
But
I
this wasn't your
pursued
first
it.
pick as a course, even the way you were
No,
transferred.
kasi, diba, what happened was, when I took my entrance exam sa Ateneo, wala pang diplomacy in IR.
Yeah.
So I took legal management. I got accepted to Ateneo for legal management because
Yeah.
my plan was legal management, law school, and
Mm.
then foreign service exam, UN.
Okay.
That's
Okay, that's
original
clear.
plan.
Let's
That
review
was
the law school thing later na lang din. Why?
that was
Why?
my original plan, talaga.
Okay.
So do well in high school, get into Ateneo, law,
Mhm.
and then law school, and
Mhm.
then foreign service officer, ganyan. But when I got to Ateneo, they suddenly opened up the DIP IR course. So I was like, okay, if I can go straight to foreign service exam, I'll just skip the whole law school thing. Diba? Like, why will I still stay sa LM if I can go straight to diplomacy and IR? Kasi that's what I want naman talaga, diba? Let's be real.
Yeah.
So I shifted to DIP IR, and then from there, NYU grad school kasi nawala na. Law school is out of the picture na. So I said, sige, instead of law school, grad school. And then sana grad school, then foreign service exam, and then UN. So, okay, I got through grad school, done. Next step, diba? Foreign service exam. But as I said earlier, I didn't want to take it kaagad because I want to see first if, I'd like the work.
Yeah.
And so I got into the DFA. And this is where the whole reality, hits you in the face
Yeah.
sort of
Around
thing. Yeah.
25. How old are you, Carla, by the way?
Now I'm 26. I'm turning 27. Pero I started working, I was 24.
Okay.
Right? So around 24, 25, reality hits you in the face.
Yeah.
You
Usually
have
that range talaga.
Diba? You have all of these plans. They go smoothly until college.
Yeah.
That's why it's easy. When you're still a student, it's easy because it's all smooth. You know
Yeah.
what's coming next. It's like high school, college, and then post grad, whatever, grad school, law school, anything. That's all smooth. Now, when you're done with school, yun na, and you're in the real world, you realize things
Yeah.
that you didn't think of before kasi hindi mo naman alam. So, I realized like when I was in the DFA, I don't want to be a
Okay.
foreign service officer.
How come?
Why?
Why?
Because you have to literally devote your whole life to your
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I don't want to be devoted to my work that way because I want to have a family.
And this
I
is
want
on top of your dream as an 8-year-old to want to work. That's a
When I was
big.
8, I thought I could do everything. Syempre, I didn't understand. I thought I could be a diplomat. I thought I could travel the world and have a family
Okay.
and do everything at the same time.
So and or lang
You
your
know,
life. Now there's this
now,
sacrifice you really need to.
yes, now you really see. Now it's something has to give. So it's
So,
either you're focused talaga on your work, so you can be a really effective diplomat, which will, you know, affect home life.
mhm.
Or, if you want to choose home life, you have to give up, being a full time diplomat, which I realized is the path that I'm taking now.
Sorry to digress, but
Mm.
I think I asked that super sensitive personal question back nung college tayo sa kay Ambassador Gonzalez, and I was like, so Ambassador, how are you and your family and your husband? And she replied like she was like 70 plus. That it was like,
Oh
I don't have
no.
a husband, I don't have children, and everything is. Oh shit! I will fail this class, and I did.
And that's how she started to hate me.
Probably, I think that's the reason. Because like I say, I saw then Ambassador Manalo, who was our teacher before that class.
Mhm.
She
So
married an
she's
ambassador.
happy. Oh.
I think Enrique Manalo or her
Yes,
son is.
yes. No, her son is Enrique Manal.
Okay, but yeah, so they would live apart, and I was like, kahit ako long distance naman ako ever since, diba? Like, I don't want to
Exactly.
go through life just like this, diba? So anyway, for you, what did you discover around the age of 24 to
That's
26?
exactly it. So I realized na parang, wait a minute, no matter how dignified this profession is, parang before kasi I thought, wow, diplomat, social, parang so high up there, so dignified. They really are.
They should
But,
be. They have to be.
you give a lot up for that.
Mm.
And for me, that's something that I realized that I don't want to do.
Mm.
I don't want to set aside being able to have a stable home life just
Mm.
so that I can, become this super high ranking ambassador who travels the world.
Kasi yeah,
If
yeah, you travel every how many years you get reassigned
every 6 years.
6 years with
So
your
parang,
family doing it naman, diba? All
yeah.
that.
So six years in a post, and then you go
Mm.
back to the Philippines 2 years, and then
Okay,
6 years again in a different post, and then
until
you
you
go
retire.
back again until you retire.
Your
And
children grow up everywhere in the world.
exactly. And I guess like if I was single, like if I really like if marriage and children were out of the picture for me, perfect
Mm.
life.
Okay,
Diplomatic life is perfect. Kasi
okay, okay,
you just think of yourself, 'di ba? You think of yourself, you can devote your life to your
okay.
work. You can uproot yourself no matter how many
Yeah,
times, 'di
if you
ba?
want that
If
kind
you're
of
alone.
lifestyle, that's really
Exactly. If you're
that's
single talaga, it's
mm,
ideal, which
okay.
I thought for the longest time I would be. But again, things
So,
happen.
his name is Sofod Khan.
His name is Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis came into my life, diba? And
When you were where studying,
like, I'm sorry.
you were studying your
Yeah,
master's
while I was in New
unexpected
York.
curriculum.
Exactly. Diba? So I was thinking I was gonna be this single diplomat, fashionable, you know, lady, and I travel the world. But then again, plans change, priorities change, and yeah, that's something that I really learned,
Mhm.
progressing through life. Now, no matter how much you
Yeah,
have this plan, things come into your life na you
things
didn't
change.
expect,
Yeah,
diba? And it will change how you look at
so much
things.
of it, diba? It's like
It's true.
yung ano, you can never expect everything. Hindi naman ano siya, it's not a bad thing even, diba?
Oh yeah, not at
It's
all.
just
No.
what you value for so long. Eventually you'll find out like there's certain things you have to take into account. Family, your
Exactly.
same time your career, you have to balance that, and that comes around
Exactly.
25, exactly around 25 when you like should I
Yeah,
do the grind, and I think it's even a privilege even to have the time to understand or to realize that thing, because like some people really just have to work for
exactly.
their family and they don't
Yes.
have the chance, but if given the chance, of course, at the certain age of around our age as 20s, diba, like really hits you na okay, I've kind of experienced a lot of things, not everything yet, but I know how it might progress, diba? And
Right.
if I will continue this, certain sacrifices will be made. So
Exactly.
after, but I don't want to rush you since it's still the start of the year, but
It's still my first day unemployed.
day unemployed, it's our first day
I know.
employed, but what is your direction na lang in
Right. So for now, well, the main reason that's like the big reason of why I didn't really pursue anymore the DFA, but the main reason why I decided to not renew is because of family responsibilities. That's another
okay,
thing. Like, we don't take into account what happens in our family. Like, diba? Like when we make plans, sometimes we only think of ourselves na, oh, basta, I want to do this, 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 this. But then along the way, you lose family
yeah,
members, you lose, um,
carry certain
people.
responsibilities that they used to carry.
Exactly. You lose people who you thought would always be there, na will allow you to do what you
Yeah,
want. Now you have to step up, and
yeah.
it changes your course.
Mm-hmm,
So that's where I am at the moment.
mm-hmm.
I call it my in between. Like I'm in
Okay,
between,
in
you
between.
know. I'm in the in between. I'm still waiting for my time, but for now it's just like I have to prioritize.
Yeah.
adult decisions just have to prioritize first what
Yeah.
needs to be done, while of course not putting my career on the back burner. I'm still trying to
I
look
mean, it took you 9 months of sacrifice and all that thing, no, then to walk away from it.
exactly
It's really, it's not something out of leisure or like I just want to do
right.
it.
There's a
Or,
reason. There's an adult reason behind it na, as I
yeah,
said, parang things come into your life that wasn't really part of your original plan. So you just
yeah,
have to, kind of just shift it a
navigate.
little bit and yeah, see how things will work and,
Mhm.
how best to move forward while everyone's happy,
Yeah. And look at us
which
now. We're doing a podcast at the age of,
I
we never
know.
expected it
But
to be like this. In
it's
college.
it's really nice because even if I think, we're still so young, we're what, 25, 26, 27. We're still super young. But at the same time, we've gone through enough to be able to share with people a little younger than us na
Yeah.
parang, well, be prepared now when you're 24, 25, you'll
Just
be
look out.
slapped with the realities of life.
Ako nga, just look out for these things and is slap talaga. No,
Diba? Let's not sugarcoat. It's true. That's what happens. Talagang things happen, but you just try your best, diba? To
yeah.
navigate through, as you said.
Which brings me to like, siguro this is the final part. It's been an hour, more than an hour. It's an hour.
Sorry,
So,
Ike, you're gonna have
okay.
to cut so many things
No, baka episode
and
one,
just like
episode.
switch
Yeah,
it
it's just
around.
I can do like part one, part two. No. Anyway, so siguro, one, not one. It depends on you. What are the good lessons that you've learned after all these things? No, like siguro your na hindi naman advice. I don't want to call it advice, but
Mm,
your piece of the truth. So to be philosophical, no. Your piece of the truth as a 20-something-year-old. It's like coming from you know everything that happened from your
mm,
dream to be working for the UN, eventually studying and competing in the job hunting and the job proper, and then you've been through a lot of things already. And what are the not warnings, but just truthful um insights that you would want to share together?
that I would wish to impart
Yeah,
to people a little younger than me.
papapaon
Well,
nila.
for me, I think even if I'm saying that our plans don't always work out like 100% how we want it to, I
Mm.
think it's very important to have a plan.
Okay. Okay.
That's something. Like, yes, you should know that these plans, yun nga, it won't stick 100% na A, B, C, D
Yeah.
na you planned out. But it's very important to have a plan
Mhm.
so that you're not, lost or you're not stirred into so many different directions.
Because it's
Well, I
gonna
think
be so
that
confusing. I think the freedom, kasi for me, it's the freedom to like really you can do whatever you want, but yeah, the consequences as well can do whatever they want sa'yo, di ba? Like, you can leave
exactly.
your house at any time, at any day. But yeah, when you're 20 something, it's a
Yeah, the way you can
personal.
go crazy. You can like you're done with college, be like, all right, I'm gonna party. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't whatever. That was after
tama.
like what 1 year you realize, oh no, like what have I done? Where am I? What am I gonna
Yeah.
do? Diba? Like I feel like it's important that you have a plan.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't have to be as I said, like, oh, I follow ABC, but you have to know now, okay, after college, I want to get myself here, whether it's a job or whether it's law school or grad
Oh, but by the
school.
way, why didn't you pursue law school? Why did even me? Why didn't I pursue law school?
Well,
Um,
as I said earlier, for me is my goal is the UN. That's my
okay,
goal.
so
Like long-term plan goal UN.
you're you're one of the key students sa international law class natin kay Dean Candelaria. You were even the beadle and
Let's just say I was napilitan because I was the first. Di ba wala, it's not, it's not like I volunteered. I was scared. But I was the earliest one. That's why I became the
It's a
beadle.
7:30 class pa naman eh, 7:40. And I live just like 5 minutes away from that classroom at Bellarmine.
And I
And I'm
live far away.
in Makati. Tapos I'm always the late ako kasi may quiz. That's why I followed his by the way kay Dean Kande I
Style.
followed his style where you do the quiz at the start
Mm-mm.
of the class because your class is so early to like
Mm-mm.
pressure people. So that's what I do. Pero I'm also always late in my classes, so it doesn't really work that much.
I
But I
see.
see people rushing and eating skyflakes, and that was like me when I was studying for this class exactly. So yeah, tama pala yung sa law school mo. So it's something that you would tell a 20-year-old Carla if you would meet her and travel back in time. It's like um double down in your plan or like
No,
ano
I would
siguro.
tell 20-year-old Carla that to go, like, I wouldn't change anything, but I would tell her to have more fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
be a
Yeah.
little less. Ako kasi I was very like
Focused. Maybe.
focused. It's like, this needs to happen. Which, not naman like magwala ka na and not study. No, no, no. Like, I pride myself really for, sticking to the plan that I made for myself as closely as I could. But yeah, I just wish I was a little less tightly wound.
Okay. Anyway, anything else you wanna talk like we can just end the podcast here and just talk whatever or if you wanna say more things to the students, to my students. So just go
Well,
ahead.
I just want to say good luck, and you'll figure it out. Nobody, even at our, like, when we were your age, people would tell us all these things then, but you never really know it until you go through with it, because syempre we all go through different things, but you'll figure it out. You always will. Just stay
Use your
your
head.
course, and yeah, be responsible and think of outcomes of your actions.
Yeah. Yun talaga.
And
That's the one that may induce anxiety is the outcomes then as well. So yeah, I
yeah,
think you should incorporate what you advised your 20-year-old self was like to just have a bit of fun along with it, along with
yeah,
planning.
like, don't be scared to have some fun, but
Yeah,
again, outcome
yeah,
of
we
your
were
action.
scared of having fun while we were sa college. Like,
Diba? Wasted youth. When I look back, I was
I
like,
wouldn't
"I
call it
wasted."
wasted. I would just call it like it's a
I
gift. It's
do. I just call it, when I think, I'm just like, I wasted my 18-year-old self, 19-year-old self.
just tama ka na
Yep.
you should plan. It's I think for a 20-year-old like a baseline plan of kasi sayang eh, di ba? And then at the same time, sayang din if you don't have fun. So a good,
Exactly.
well
That
balanced
that's
plan.
a that's a nice way of putting it, like a baseline plan. Nothing like concrete na talagang
Yeah,
kailangan ABCD, but you have to have a plan. You have
yeah.
to follow something.
And that's a wrap for us. Here's a podcast with your teacher Sir Ike and my guest for today. This is Miss Carla Liwanag. Um, thank you for listening and thank you Carla for sharing probably important parts of your life to the students from all the way from you were 8 from 8 years old cut till now the first second what day is today it's the fourth day
Or
of the year um yeah any statements that you would want to close with.
no, I just want to say thank you for having me, Ike. This was super fun. It's nice to be able to just look back and reminisce, and I hope that I didn't babble too much, and that your students are able to learn a little something from me and what I've gone through thus far. But I'm also still learning. I'm still coursing through life, and yeah, just want to wish us all luck in our endeavors, and just stay on, and everything will be fine. be fine.
To a better year. COVID
To
free.
a better year.